Today, I'm recording Kimberly Fitzpatrick, who is a Pittsburgh helper and teacher and founding board member. And I'm Susan Saylor. And Kim, thank you so much for being willing to do this interview.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you discover Pathwork and how long ago was that?
So I discovered Pathwork when I went to school and trained with Barbara Brennan on energy healing. And I started that training about 15 years ago. I think it was 2009. And she was actually a Pathwork helper prior to opening the school. And she brought Pathwork teachings to the school. And honestly, that was my favorite part of the training. That was the gift from me in the Barbara Brennan training. I love the energy work, but the Pathwork just lit up for me, and I knew right away I wanted to be a Pathwork helper. So when I completed my training with Barbara, I came to Pittsburgh, and fortunately, they were starting a transformation program here.
Oh, what timing.
I know, right? Yep.
My
Yes.
goodness, you were lucky. Well, what was it about Pathwork that drew you to it?
As an energy practitioner, what I learned was that people would, get on my table and say, like, heal me. And I like immediately thought, this doesn't work. Like, I can certainly work with your energy field and heal you, but if you continue to have the same thoughts about yourself and about life, your field's going to come right back into place. Like, what needed to change was on a deeper level. And so that is why I was so drawn to it. Though I was on a lifelong search. When I was 10 years old, our parents took us to Virginia Beach for vacation, and we went to Edgar Cayce's foundation. He was a pioneer in the world of trance channeling and holistic health. And he gave over 13,000 readings that were meticulously recorded and transcribed. So 10 years old, I get there, and they didn't have computers back then, right? There were card files. And I was like a kid in a candy store, but it was a kid in a spiritual candy store for me. I was crazy. I was so excited. I was going through all the card files, and I just wanted to download all of this knowledge about past lives and soul tasks and planetary sojourns and dream interpretation. And, basically it just awakened a language in me or a calling in me that I was so hungry for. And that was a life-changing time and set me off on the world of spirituality.
What an
So
extraordinary 10-year-old you were, Kim. My goodness.
Oh, well, I was fortunate to have parents that took me there and parents that believed in these things, but it did. I mean, it woke something up in me that was very familiar to me. So that,
You must have remembered part of maybe a past life.
oh, I absolutely did. I mean, I never understood life. It was sort of flat. And it just sort of like woke up in me. Oh, yes, there's a much deeper meaning to life. Yes, even as a 10-year-old, I was a pretty heavy little 10-year-old, I think. I was looking for deeper meaning. And truly the path is where I found it, because it's a program that helps you observe yourself. Uh, it's a path that helps you really understand your psychology, and then it brings in spirituality. Basically, it marries them. And I found that nowhere else. I spent my life looking. And so that's what got me here.
Well, that's quite a statement that Pathwork marries spirituality to psychology. So let me ask you, given Pathwork, how have you changed your life? How has it affected how you live your life?
Well, I no longer blame people or life. I think I used to look around and think, well, gee, don't have this, or I want that, or why am I like this? I, just to back up for a second, one thing that really struck me about the path that Barbara Brennan backing up here was that I learned that like that constant narration that goes on, that went on in my mind, I thought it was just me. I mean, I didn't realize that's the human condition. And so what I learned is that we can change that. We learn to observe ourselves and understand that these are incorrect misconceptions about ourselves. And that was so hopeful. That was so exciting to me. So back to your immediate question, I learned that, I could create my life and my reality. Whatever wasn't happening in my life was nobody else's fault. It was for me to create that. I was married, I'll be married 30 years next year. And early on in my marriage, I expected my husband to take care of me financially and emotionally, and I put an awful lot on him. And what I learned was it's not his job to make me happy in any way. It's mine. It makes me a stronger woman. It makes me a happier woman. And I can see him for who he is and the gifts he has to offer, not the demands I would have on him to be my caretaker. So I think that was very big, to be self-responsible in that way. Um, what else? I think it certainly helped, if not saving my marriage, it made it a lot happier. It made us both a lot happier. I have learned a faith that I never had before. I have learned and watched how spirit is very active in our lives. If we do our work and we ask for help, I have seen again and again how spirit, I don't know how, but intervenes in the most meticulous and minor ways. But just like there being a transformation program when I left Barbara Brennan here in Pittsburgh, like it's like the wind is at your back. When you do your work, I've just learned to trust that things all happen as they should, and they will. And it doesn't always look exactly like we want it to look. Sometimes it doesn't at all. But I feel more like I know that I'm a creator of my life. I no longer think there's some God, maybe a God up on a throne somewhere that's calling the shots. What I know is that I call the shots. This is what I believe. It's like it's like Earth. It's like Earth is a school,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? It's like this lifetime is like a soul school, and we are here to learn. And it's not always easy, but that's why we're here. And having that attitude makes challenges in life a lot easier. And that I know I set the curriculum for my school before I was born into this incarnation. So that's understanding all of that's been helpful.
Oh, definitely. And I wonder if you'd be willing to talk about this, but you mentioned that you feel spirit as a moving force in your life. Could you talk about one instance when spirit has helped you know what to do or how to understand something difficult?
Think I listen to spirit moment by moment. I mean, for example, this is a rather mundane example, but we had shingles blow off of a roof and we have to replace it. So I've called 3 contractors, and when I meet them, I know. Like one of them just felt not right. Like it was a feeling, it was like flat. Everything that came out of his mouth was fine, but I knew it wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right. Um, so I mean, that's kind of a small thing, but like I'm just guided day by day, like what should I do next? What should I do today? Oh, I better call so and so. And sure enough, it was important that I called them. So it's not one big thing that I can think of in this moment, but it's sort of guiding my life. It's not always clear, but quite often it is.
Well, that's a profound resource to be able to be close to. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
Path work can be downright difficult.
Mm.
What for you has been difficult about path work?
You know, as I explained, I feel very responsible for my life. I do believe that I'm creating it. So that's a lot of responsibility. I mean, we create our life with our thoughts, conscious and unconscious. And so knowing that, sometimes I think, wow, what is lurking in my unconscious that I'm creating from? So it's a responsibility to be to understand you're creating your life experience. Sometimes it's tiresome to always be always be observing yourself and looking for essentially your flaws. And it gets easier the more you do the work. You don't take it so seriously and think you're horrible. Like, I've really learned to accept it's all good. Like, it's all good. But it can be tiresome. I mean, sometimes I just need to take a break. So that's hard. That can be challenging.
And overall, what would you say is the most significant change you've made in your life?
I would say, I don't know if there's just one. I think probably my relationship with my husband has been, I think not blaming, not judging. I do still judge, I must admit, but knowing, like really knowing the direction that I should be in just makes every part of my life flow better. It's like I know the direction that I hate to say should, but I know the direction that would be healthy for me to go in. So it kind of impacts all areas of my life. I would definitely say my relationship with my husband. I think my trust in spirit, my trust that things will all work out. What else has really helped me? I just have a passion for this work. I think I've always I think I was born to be a pathwork helper, to be honest with you. I've always wondered, like, this life doesn't make sense to me. I was always a person helping friends and, like, I always wondered what's happening behind our thoughts. So just having that orientation in life for myself is a gift, and finding my life's work is a gift. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes. Yes, you
Okay.
did. So, given all of your experiences with path work, is there anything you would like to add, especially to help people who might be interested in path work, but not really know what it's about? What would you like to add?
First of all, I think it's a calling. I mean, not everybody is called to the path, but I think if you have a sense about it and you're curious, it's very worth checking out. And to me, path work is like a roadmap to the human condition. It really takes you by the hand and helps you understand. We first start to dissect the things in life that have made us unhappy. So that in and of itself is a gift. So understanding ourselves better. What I would say is approach it with great acceptance for yourself. The path is pretty challenging at first. We have to learn to be okay, understanding that we have a lower self and we do some things that seem not great, but to remember it's really just divine consciousness inverted, right? It's really our divinity. We just got confused along the way. So I would say bring great acceptance to yourself and patience.
Oh, my goodness. Kim, that is lovely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Susan. You are lovely. I just love you. You are such an inspiring woman for me, honestly. I have the pleasure of having you in our lecture study group, and I just think you are the way you take on this work and the way you age so gracefully. I'm inspired by you. So
I'm just
thank
grateful to still be aging.
I get that.